to NocBro Nation.
Welcome back, guys. Jarrell here.
And I'm Josh, and today we're here to talk about Shane. Is he the biggest villain in The Walking Dead?
It's a very good question. Is he the best overall villain of The Walking Dead? This video came about of an article that came out on Screen Rant, which they do some amazing work, and they have some really good ideas that sometimes we don't even think about, and we love to kind of, give you guys videos on these things. And Shane, you love him or hate him. We know that Judith is his daughter, but it's Rick Grimes' his daughter.
Yep.
To be honest. But the reason that we're talking about this is because Shane was kind of the main villain of the show, where we saw him transition his personality and attitude and losing his humanity and sanity over the course of 2 seasons.
2 seasons, yeah.
And to see that level of impact on him from the return of our protagonist is just insane. It's like the evil within. Like, your enemy is within your group, not the big villains that we've seen from the show, like the Governor and Terminus and Alpha. It's somebody who's right next to you, who has a close relationship with the ones you love.
Yeah.
So,
I think that was what makes him the quote-unquote strongest or best villain of The Walking Dead, is the fact that he went completely good from what we saw in the pre-apocalyptic scene with Rick. This guy was innocent. He was friendly. He was a ladies' man. He was an amazing guy, actually, and a really good friend to Rick. And then to completely see that downfall over the course of 2 seasons. Now, a lot happened in that time frame, but yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a good guy going bad. We saw him as a hero who, after Rick, was supposedly dead, took care of Lori and Carl, and they established this group, and he was their leader. He was the one making the decisions. He was the one who, yes, fell in love with Lori. Lori assumed that Rick was dead. They both did. So, well, we don't know. Maybe Shane truly didn't know he was dead. There's a lot of conspiracy theories on that.
He had to assume that leaving Rick in that position, knowing that there was no way, because to him, if he unhooked the machines, Rick maybe would have died anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
So maybe he left that hospital convincing himself, most likely, that, Rick's not alive. So, and then, of course, the rest is history. He fell in love with Lori. He can't help that.
Yeah, even Rick eventually said that he understands that. But it was just, even after the fact, you see the tension between the two, because now Shane has lost that role. Rick has become a leader of this group. He's the one now making the decisions. Lori has basically said, don't ever talk to me in a love interest way again. Don't touch me. Don't come near me. Don't come near Carl. We saw some crazy things with Shane when they were at the CDC, where he almost tried to, basically sexually rape her, sexually abuse her. He was just losing his mind because he wanted back what he had, and he cannot stand someone else taking that away from him, even though it was his best friend. Yeah. He didn't care anymore. He tried to kill him at least a couple times, and he did not care.
Yeah,
and that's losing his mind.
I think one of Shane's biggest turns was Otis.
Oh, that was so sad.
That was a big turn for him, in going bad, right? In Breaking Bad, but going bad. Because, yes, he sacrificed Otis to save Carl, but just that whole, action of doing that was just terrible. And the shaving the head scene.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
That was the turn.
You're like, this dude is losing it.
He's lost it. He basically lied and he came up with a perfect story that anyone, we as an audience, I think in the back of our mind, we were like I was like, but it makes sense. It's believable.
But we knew, though.
Yeah.
Otis. We knew.
Yeah. Like, it's a believable story, but the amount of detail that he was able to give to make that. But then, of course, the shaving scene, you knew, like, he's looking at himself like, yeah, man, I'm done.
I think one of the best, in my opinion, what makes him the greatest villain, and we're not talking about ruthlessness, because there are other villains in The Walking Dead, the Governor, that makes them a ruthless villain. But what made Shane a true, amazing, great, best villain is his relationship with Rick.
Mm-hmm.
He was so close to Rick that at one point, Rick, while he's killing him, is saying, "Why did you make me do this, Shane?"
Yeah, and another thing is, to this day, or even before he went missing, Shane has always haunted Rick. He's always haunted him in the back of his mind. So that's somebody who is
sometimes in a good way,
but still in his mind psychologically taunting him, haunting him. So that villain, when Rick was having his hallucinations, I mean, that scene was amazing, but you see the ruthlessness of Shane coming out in that. And there are some reports coming out, guys. We're not going to do a video on it, but there's another report from We Got This Covered that Shane might be coming up in a Rick Grimes movie as a flashback. Why? We don't really need more flashbacks. But, we're not going to do a separate video on it.
I wouldn't mind it, simply because he was a big part of his life, and I mean, that was his best friend, right?
Yeah, but I'm kind of done with this flashbacks of Shane.
I don't know if we that last flashback was pretty badass.
It was great. I mean, unless they do
especially the way they did it.
Yeah, unless they do flashbacks like as he's still trying to, heal himself or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But off topic. But if he ends up in the one movie, cool. If not, whatever. But like we were kind of going back to where they kind of mentioned in the article where the villains that we've seen in the show have specific strategies and mindsets. Like the governor, Alpha, they all want things from our group that they want to take. And they use their ruthlessness to take that stuff away and kill to get what they need. Shane wasn't like that. Shane just wanted back the very thing that he lost. You could say is similar to that, but he didn't go around killing a lot of our group to make that happen.
No, I mean, Shane didn't want full control of everything, right? Like a Negan, who wanted to, Negan wanted everything,
right? Yeah,
right, but Shane would have been fine taking Lori and Carl and running off on their own.
Oh,
he even told Lori that. Mm-hmm. So that's all he wanted.
That's all he wanted.
He didn't want actual control of everyone and everything, right. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's true, because you kind of saw that he was Rick's right-hand man, especially in the CDC where Rick was, talking to the doctor and he wanted to get aggressive. He looked at Shane to do that. Shane was kind of his muscle. And then Shane goes in there and is like, oh, tell us. So Shane took a step back. I don't think maybe Shane really wanted to be the leader, but he did like some of the control and make some of the decisions. And he was kind of pissed at Rick for a lot of the decisions he made, thinking that he made wrong decisions and he would have done it better. Yeah. But he just wanted Carl and Lori.
When I think of Shane, I think of a wild dog, right? Never know.
Like a pit bull.
No offense to pit bull owners.
No offense to pit bull owners.
Some of them are darlings. Yeah. But a wild a pit bull that's been, hasn't been home, right? Hasn't been brought up in a home, in a family presence, is more of like a wild dog, right? And when that switch flips, you ain't turning it off. And that was exactly what Shane was.
Yeah. In the article, it says Shane's decisions were based on emotion, not greed, power, or recognition, as was the case with other villains.
Governor Woodbury only wanted control of Woodbury.
Greed and power.
Yeah. Wanted more for Woodbury. Wanted more for him. Negan wanted everything. Half of everything.
Alpha, same thing. I mean, I wouldn't say Alpha wanted power. She had power, but she used her power to control her flock, basically. Mm-hmm. And then, other people like Terminus and other things that are just little villains that they use power and greed and psychoticness, but not like Shane. I mean, he was filled with emotion, and that's kind of what we're talking about. What makes him the greatest villain is that he was motivated by emotion. Yeah, that his heart was broken,
and like I said, he was so close to Rick that he at any point probably could have taken advantage of Rick because of their relationship. Like the guy literally lured him out in the middle of nowhere and tried to kill Rick. Granted, Rick probably knew that was happening, and he had a sense that was happening. Yeah, but I mean, think about this. Like, if Shane would have said, Rick, I'm sorry, I apologize, and actually been pretty, sympathetic during that situation, probably would have gotten out of it. Yeah. Because of his relationship with Rick.
Oh, yeah. It just never came to that. And there were many instances where, Shane could have killed Rick. I mean, we know that God, I'm trying to think of his name. Dale. Dale knew something was up. He definitely knew. That's why he hid the weapons. Dale knew.
Dale hated Shane.
Yeah, but he could see.
He
Dale
could see
saw
what
his
other
descent.
people could not.
Yes, Dale saw
Right?
his descent into madness, and that's why Dale was very protective of everything. But of course, when Shane was right in front of his face, he was afraid because he knew that 2 seconds he'll snap. So he's like, "Yeah, take the guns, whatever, do what you want. I don't want to get in the way."
I gotta watch those seasons again.
I know
It's been a while.
I know, but guys, yeah, I think we believe that Shane is the best overall villain. Not talking greed, power. It's just somebody who is lying wait within and waiting to strike, which he tried, but it wasn't going to work. It was going to fail.
Not with our Rick Grimes.
No, definitely not. In an alternate universe, maybe. Then it would be...
And a lot of people say that. Like, what would Shane have done to Negan? What would Shane have done during the governor situation? And, the situations like Negan, like, I don't think Shane could have naturally avoided that, right? Like, the only way that he would have been able to avoid that is I don't think Shane would have even put the group closely near those situations, right?
Yeah.
He was a little bit more calculated than Rick.
Yeah. But would Shane have buddied up with Negan? Do you think Negan's philosophy, parts of it would have appealed to Shane?
I only to
survive.
Only to survive to the point where he probably eventually would have taken Negan out.
Yeah.
Like, I could see totally Shane.
But you'd have to go through Dwight. You have to go through Simon.
Shane, dude. He would have.
He would have been ruthless, man.
I think he was more of a ruthless guy. And like he said to Rick, like, I'm willing to do stuff that you're not going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Rick had more empathy, more thoughtfulness of people. Shane was like, let's do everything we need to do to get it done.
Now, we're talking about a Rick that was when he was with Shane, right?
Yeah.
Like, Rick changed and evolved.
Oh, he definitely did. Oh, yeah.
The Rick that first went into Alexandria was ruthless.
Dictatorship, man. Oh, we love that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know what you think, guys. Is Shane? Did you love Shane? Do you think he's the overall best villain in The Walking Dead? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, give the video a quick like. Stay tuned for more from us. I'm Jarrell.
I'm Josh.
We're NocBro Nation.
We're out.